Hey everybody, we're here now to talk about some practical strategies for protecting your intellectual property, things you can do as a creator in order to make sure that you aren't setting yourself up to be exploited. So there are a number of things that I know Danielle has told people are great ways to do that, and so I'll let her explain a little bit more about what goes into that, what you can do that requires a lawyer, what you can do that doesn't require a lawyer, and you'll be better informed about how to do this.
Yeah, so some of the things that I tell a lot of the creatives that I work with is that anytime you are creating something for someone else, you want to have a contract in writing for them, and so that you can make it clear what are the things that you are protecting and what are the things you are giving them rights to. That kind of thing you probably are going to want an attorney to help you draft. It's usually called a licensing agreement or a work for hire agreement. And that's kind of your starting point, is you want to know what are the terms of what I'm doing. Am I creating this only for myself? Am I creating this for other people to use? And if they're going to use it, what are the limits on how they can use it? So that's always your first step. But then there's some other practical things you can do even after that contract's been signed to help protect your work. So one of the things is that if you are creating work for somebody else, unless it's a true work for hire situation, I usually always try to get people to give a deposit of some sort. That way, if for some reason the deal kind of falls through, you have at least gotten part of the money paid to you ahead of time before you create the finalized work. If you're doing something like creating a logo or creating some sort of digital image for someone or something, or even it's photography that you're providing a digital image to, if you are providing those to the client in some sort of preview sort of way for final approval, you want to be able to give them a work in a way that's protected so that they can't just simply turn around and use the work without actually getting permission from you if you haven't already previously granted that permission. So some of the ways that you can do that is that you can have a protected file that's view only, so that they can't actually lift the work in any way, major capacity. But you can also, in the images that you have, you can create some electronic security inside of those images. So if you're doing stuff in Adobe in any capacity, you can use metadata, and that metadata will be embedded into the digital footprint of the image, so that that image can, if it was posted somewhere else on the internet, we would be able to search that metadata and find where that image is being posted, so that we could ask that infringer or that person who's stolen that image to go ahead and take it down. The other thing that I suggest that a lot of my creatives do is that they put watermarks on any images that they're providing to their clients, or any images that you're posting online in any capacity. And a watermark, there are a variety of watermarks. It can be as simple as something that you've put into a document using some standard tools in Adobe or photo editor software that's putting a watermark into those things. And then there are also programs that you can buy that are going to put a more robust watermark in terms of it's less obnoxious, I guess would be a good word for it.
It's more aesthetically appealing.
It's more aesthetically appealing, but it still functions the same as a watermark. Some of the free applications to put watermarks on, the watermarks, they serve the purpose of it. Yes, it's got a watermark, but the watermark is pretty ugly and kind of like proof, like right across the top or right across the image, and it can be kind of difficult to make the image look attractive. And obviously, if you're putting it online for the purposes of kind of trumping up your business and sort of saying, this is the kind of stuff I do, you don't want it to be completely unattractive. So anytime you're going to put an image online, I suggest you embedding metadata or going ahead and having a watermark on that image. If you're going to put images online in a capacity like Facebook or things like that, certainly have a watermark. Metadata is going to be a little bit more difficult because of the way that Facebook allows you to upload images, same with Instagram. But having a watermark in there for certain will help with that. In addition, you have some requirement to police your own intellectual property. So Google actually is fantastic for this. Their image search will allow you to upload an image and then search for that image on Google. So if you have certain images that you are trying to make sure that nobody else is using, you can upload that into Google Image and search that particular image and see what results come across for that. So, doing that kind of thing will allow you to more easily police your image. In addition, I recommend not releasing a final image to a client in a format that allows them to do anything with it until you've received final payment and everybody's kind of set on this is what we're doing with it. In addition, if you are going to have kind of a consultation where you're going to talk about what you're going to design, or you're maybe going to even sketch up something as you talk about it, you could consider having that consultation be a fee-based consultation that then is applied to the ultimate price for the product that is created. So that way you don't have to worry about having an hour-long meeting with someone about their logo design and talk about and even sketch up some things and ideas for their logos, and then have them turn around and take the ideas that you came up with and use them with someone else. It's a way that at least they've paid you for your time with that, even if they don't use you to create the final product. Musicians have a lot of the same problem with people downloading and dealing and copying their work. So you have to be cognizant of seeing, looking through YouTube and all of these different social media platforms to see if your link to your music or your music is being used in any of those platforms. The nice thing is that for the most part, if it's a larger corporate-owned website, if you just send them a notice and say, hey, that's my stuff, that's my image, that's my logo, that's my music, whatever, the larger corporate websites will pretty much take them down immediately. So you do have that benefit.
Yeah, and I know too, we were talking a little bit earlier about some of these marketplaces that are out there like Fiverr, where, creatives can sort of outsource, or provide services for, what it is they do, whether it's, creating a logo or anything like that. And they have some interesting kind of arrangements there where, there can be a tiered sort of ownership based on how much somebody is willing to pay.
Yeah. So Fiverr is Fiverr for artists and creative types is in some ways a double-edged sword. I mean, it's like any marketplace where Fiverr is obviously going to take a percentage cut of anything that you sell, and some of these platforms have a fee to pay, a pay-to-play sort of fee involved as well. But Fiverr, and I'm sure other marketplaces are similar, does have a setup where the creative can dictate what the terms are for the licensing of the logo. So it can be something like where they've created the logo and the only thing that the recipient can do is use it for business purposes, but they can't register a trademark with it. And they don't own the image and they don't own the rights to the image. But Fiverr then also allows the creative to create a secondary selection where the creative can give all of the rights in the thing that was created to the end consumer, the client. Where that gives the creative control is the creative gets to decide how many rights they want to give away, and the creative gets to control what kind of price point would be for those particular things. Now, it doesn't necessarily stop infringement. You still have to police that mark, because it could be that you've given them only the right to use it for business purposes, but they might turn around and try to trademark it anyway. And so you still have to police the mark, and you still have to kind of make sure that they're using it within the rights that you gave them. But it does at least allow you to have some level of control. And Fiverr is just one of the examples. There are many other examples out there for that kind of work for hire, fee for service-based creative stuff that happens in all corners of the web.
Yeah, and I think one of the exciting things about this is it kind of goes back to this idea that we're going to talk about, throughout the rest of this. It's where, the legal services that are out there largely had been unaffordable at the rates at which they were being packaged, but now we're kind of seeing a shift in the way that these things are being packaged so that it's more affordable. people can get better access to just those parts of it that they need.
Right.
And I think that's encouraging to see throughout this kind of whole community. And so knowing that that is even an option is something that I think can be very powerful in itself.
Yeah, I feel like the internet has been a great thing for creatives because it allows creatives to get their work out to a broader audience. It also has, of course, the ability for people to copy it and use it more readily, but it's also easier to enforce your own copyrights and enforce your own trademarks because you do have things like Google search where you can upload an image and be like, oh, here it is. Or you do have the ability to put metadata in an image and then search that metadata and find, oh yeah, here it is out on this website.
Yeah, even with Shazam, you can
exactly
play a clip of your song and see if it's
pulling up anywhere else. Yeah.
So, well, thank you for going through this with us, and I hope that these steps are some that you can take with you when you're trying to make sure that your intellectual property is being protected to the fullest extent that it can. And we'll talk to you later.